Some disappearances happen in silence. Others happen in plain sight. On a Wednesday night in March of 1970, a mother of four walked out of a room in a deteriorating downtown hotel in Canton, Ohio, and was never seen again. Her name was Charlotte Estella Rexroad. More than 5 decades later, her children are still searching for answers. Welcome to Case Files of the Missing, where the search for answers does not end with time. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Charlotte Estella Rexroad was 34 years old in 1970. She stood about 5'6", weighed just over 100 pounds, and was described by family as soft-spoken, attractive, and devoted to her children despite a life marked by instability. Years earlier, Charlotte had served in the U.S. Navy's WAVES program, training as a dental technician in Maryland during the mid-1950s. That period of structure and opportunity faded long before her disappearance, replaced by financial hardship, unstable housing, and a turbulent relationship. By 1970, Charlotte was living in Canton with her 4 children and her longtime boyfriend, Freeman Red Wine Jr., the father of her 2 youngest children. Their address was room 50 of the McKinley Hotel. That Wednesday, Canton experienced early spring weather, cool, damp, and unremarkable. That evening, Charlotte and Wine told their children they were leaving to wash clothes. A babysitter was left in charge. Charlotte was dressed casually, a pink blouse, blue skirt, scarf, gray coat, and brown slippers. Nothing suggested a planned night out. The couple exited the hotel together. What happened next would later become the foundation of conflicting accounts. That Wednesday, Canton experienced early spring weather, cool, damp, and unremarkable. That evening, Charlotte and Wine told their children they were leaving to wash clothes. A babysitter was left in charge. Charlotte was dressed casually, a pink blouse, blue skirt, scarf, gray coat, and brown slippers. Nothing suggested a planned night out. The couple exited the hotel together. What happened next would later become the foundation of conflicting accounts. Instead of doing laundry, Charlotte and Wine altered their plans. At some point that evening, they stopped for drinks at one of several nearby bars along East Tuscarawas Avenue, an area known locally as a stretch of bars, pool halls, and nightlife frequented by people on the margins. Accounts later placed them at one or more establishments, before eventually arriving at a local cafe and pizza bar in the 400 block of East Tuscarawas. This would be the last confirmed location where Charlotte was seen. Wine later told police multiple versions of what occurred inside the bar. In one account, he said Charlotte had been dancing with other men. He claimed that shortly before 9 o'clock, he went to the restroom and returned to find her leaving with another man. In another version, Wine stated Charlotte left with both a man and a woman, telling him she intended to enjoy herself and walking east along Tuscarawas Avenue despite his objections. No independent witnesses publicly confirmed these accounts. What is consistent across all versions is this: Wine returned to the McKinley Hotel alone. Charlotte did not. Late that evening, Wine came back to the hotel intoxicated and belligerent. His behavior escalated into a disturbance significant enough to draw police attention. Officers arrested him for public intoxication. He spent the night in jail. Charlotte never returned. The following morning, Charlotte's 14-year-old daughter went to the police station on her own. She reported her mother missing. She told officers it was entirely unlike her mother to leave without warning. She expressed fear that something had happened to her, and specifically voiced concern about Wine. Her statement would become one of the most direct and urgent pieces of information in the case. Police interviewed Wine after his release from jail. Notes from the time indicate investigators were uncertain about the credibility of his explanations. Yet no physical evidence was recovered, and no immediate crime scene was established. Officers did not locate Charlotte. They advised Wine to check with relatives and places she might go. 4 days later, police spoke with him again. He suggested Charlotte had not been herself recently and implied she may have left voluntarily. After that interview, contact ended. With Charlotte gone and Wine deemed unsuitable, the 4 children entered the foster care system. They were separated. The oldest went to live with a relative out of state. The younger 3 were eventually adopted by another family. Their childhood fractured overnight. For years, the children were told their mother had abandoned them. They never believed it. Within a few years, the investigation stalled. The case was classified as inactive, unresolved, but no longer actively pursued. because the disappearance occurred before national missing person databases were established. Charlotte's name was never entered into systems that later helped solve thousands of cases. No remains were linked to her. No confirmed sightings surfaced. Time passed. Decades later, Charlotte's daughters began searching on their own. They scoured records, databases, and genealogy sites. They contacted agencies. They considered DNA submissions. They pursued every fragment of information they could find. In the mid-1990s, two of them located Wine living in West Virginia. They visited him. By then, he was confined to a wheelchair after a stroke. They asked him what happened that night. He said he did not remember. He offered no answers. Wine died in 2008, taking whatever knowledge he may have had with him. Charlotte Estella Rexroad has never been located. Her children remain convinced she did not leave willingly. Her disappearance remains unsolved. Some cases are forgotten not because they lack significance, but because time, silence, and early assumptions bury them. Charlotte Rexroad was a mother, a daughter, and a woman whose life mattered. Her absence is not an ending. And until verifiable answers emerge, her case remains open. If you have factual, documented information connected to this case, it matters. Because every unresolved disappearance leaves a family waiting. This is Case Files of the Missing, where the search for answers does not end with time. For more intriguing missing person and cold case stories, please like, comment, and subscribe.